All right, everybody, welcome to the Lost Legion, formerly known as the Legion Lads. We decided to go ahead and do some revamping and rebranding, and the Lost Legion just kind of stuck out with us. We'll be having a new logo pretty soon, so keep an eye out on that. New Facebook coming up. Twitch, we have a new Twitch, twitch.com/the Lost Legion 559. I'll go ahead and put the link on your screen so you can click it as needed. As always, I'm joined by JR. I'm going to lose badly at LVO this year.
We'll see about that.
And Daniel, I'm going to be the one that kicks JR's butt at LVO this year. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Hey.
So let's jump straight into some news. I know I just dropped the big bomb with a new name, but by this point, I think it's fairly obvious that everybody seeing that we have a new name. But so I want to go into our big announcement. Just a little Escalation League rumor. I'm hearing a rumor of an Escalation League. Daniel, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. JR, you're gonna be hosting this one, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be having an Escalation League. I think sign up should be going up around the same time that this podcast drops. And we're planning on starting the Monday after. So I think that's Monday the 19th. Do I have that right, JR?
Yep. So a week for signups. When this podcast goes live, in the description, there's going to be a link to the Lost Legion Discord. So go ahead and join that and sign up for it. Everything that we're going to pair up and schedule and everything is going to be on the Discord. So you can find out who you're paired up with. You can find out what's going on. And it's going to be a 2-week window after the 19th of when to get your game in. It's going to be 3 rounds. And then whoever is the winner of that round or the winner of the tournament is going to get a battle force box of their choosing. So they got that to look forward to. And how we're going to do tiebreakers is we're going to do the point system that Roman had introduced in the last tournament, which is 3 points if you just wipe them out, table them, 2 points a concession, and then 1 point if you win. So if there's any ties at the end of the tournament, if there's undefeated, then whoever has the most points is going to win the tournament. So I hope you guys look forward to that. And like I said, go ahead and join the Discord. It'll be on the Facebook page. It'll be in the description, and it'll be all over the place. And yeah, looking forward to who's going to be there. I am not going to be in it, shocker, because I am the one. I want people to have a chance to win, and I think this is a good opportunity for them to win the Battle Force box. And if there is an uneven number, I will be that sub-in. You'll automatically get the win, but I'll still be there to make sure, point wise, if you can table me or not.
Nice. See, I really thought the Escalation League was just a ploy so that you could buy a Battle Force box without getting in trouble with Katie.
Oh yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot. Yes, you guys get to choose your Battle Force box, whichever one you want, but you're not gonna get the poster. Mine is the poster. This is a way for me to buy it without Katie, and then also for me to get a poster with justifying buying a Battle Force box. Also on that note, the Escalation League week 1, or round 1 is going to be 400 points with skirmish rules, no heavies. Then round 2 is going to be 500 points, skirmish rules, and then round 3 is going to be 800 points. So I don't think I made that clear earlier. So that's what we're looking at. So
awesome. Any other announcements you guys want to drop? That Escalation League with the Battle Force box as a prize, that's a big announcement right there.
Yeah, I wonder who's gonna win it. Who do you think is gonna take that bad boy? That's what I want to know.
Not you, and I'm happy with that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm secretly hoping whoever wins wants the CIS Battle Force box because I really want that poster. But if they want anyone, it's their choosing. But that's my hope.
So
know.
anyone but the CIS is available to the winner. All right, so that's all I got for announcements. It looks like that's all that you gentlemen got for announcements. Let's talk about Nova Open. I want to quote our good friend Daniel here. You can't play without Jedi. I believe it was something along that lines that was said, right?
Oh, yep, something like that. And yeah, this
Um,
tournament did not line up with that at all.
Yeah, it was almost like karma just came and said, watch. So, spoiler alert, top 3.
The winner was Kyle Dornbos or Dornbos. He is running Iden with offensive push, situation awareness. Overwatch is one of the switch outs, and then Iden's rifle with the pike capo that provides order. Boba Fett with Hunter, Recon Intel, a shore trooper, a shore mortar, stormtrooper with the T-21, 2 pikes with the disruptor shoulder and pike capo, and then Inferno squad with Delmico, Gideon Hask, and then 2 sniper squads, strike teams. 11 activation, 799.
So, what surprised me, first of all, besides the no Jedi on this list, is I think this is the first time I've seen a Pike Capo without vigilance.
Yeah, that is pretty uncommon.
So
I don't. I think it's because it's a threat saturation is 4. Like if you're shooting anything closer to 4, like he has Boba and a lot of firepower. Inferno squad, range 3. But yeah, he wants to shoot you at 4 or beyond in this list, which is pretty solid. So if you're stripping off those dodges on the pikes, that means everything else is shooting at you.
Yeah. Great list. I mean, obviously great list. Obviously well played. I mean, he did take number 1. Second list, Daniel, you got
before you go on the second list.
No,
you did.
No, before I go on the second list, what's up?
No, it'll be my afterthought after we talk about Nova Open. It's not just Kyle's list in general. It's just a thought that I have that's kind of like I want to touch on.
Okay.
But I gotta
Daniel?
say, I think the reason why his list did really good against force users, if there was force users, is I really like Boba's ripcord. It's just so good against force user planting a Jedi in place or a force user is just detrimental to anybody. And seeing that he has that in his pocket, it's just you just wait. You just shoot everything and you wait for it to approach. Boom, ripcord it.
Yeah. Boba's gotten good.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by good? Do you mean his command cards? Because he's not taking in the new command cards.
Well, it's also the extra dice. I mean, just his upgrade when he became mercenary, the extra dice and then getting independent. I think both of those are really helpful.
True.
Yeah, because usually the old problem was that he would get in melee and he was just kind of stuck, right? He couldn't kill it, and then he could only use 1 weapon. But now he's got the gun with versatile, which is a big deal. And so I played with Nick, and he did this where Boba was quote unquote stuck, but he was still shooting things the whole game, like slowly kicking and shooting things. So yeah, his usefulness is just way up.
So second place was Evan Burles. Daniel, do you have that list up?
Sorry, I don't have any of the specific lists up.
I got it. I got you.
I got you right here because I like this list.
I don't know why Adam's picking on you today, Daniel. I don't get it.
Hey, I'm just saying that it's in the show notes. The link is in the show notes.
Wait,
yeah, no, I looked at them,
looking,
but I didn't pull them up here.
So I like this list because I really was considering a list very similar to this.
Hey,
double bus.
Don't take this from me. Don't take this from me. I posted this in the chat a long time ago. This is the list I think is really fun, and I think it has a lot of potential, which obviously it does. It's won second place.
You said that same thing about the GAR list with the 3 ATRT. So I mean, how much potential you see in there?
Yeah, that's a lot of potential. Have you seen that list with 3 ATRTs, range 4 with the 2 ISP? See, the problem is, you know, I'm just gonna run it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna run it, and we're just gonna go there from there. But-
outside of TTS, you have to run the models. You can't go on TTS.
Okay, I'm gonna need to borrow some models, but yeah.
Well, then, since you came up with this list so long ago, why don't you finish explaining it to us?
Oh, I love this list. This list is amazing because um you put the two Black Suns in the AA5, right? You then jam the AA5 into the army. You reposition it to be line of sight blockers for your swoop bikes that are coming in. Your swoop bike comes in and they're overrunning and they're shooting on the same turn. That's 6 attacks a turn, not counting the AA5 and the Black Suns that are gonna pop out. I'm pretty sure this is hard to execute though. I don't think it's easy to execute because you're pulling a lot of things from the bag and you might get something you don't want, which can just stop you in your tracks. So I wish they would have streamed this game because I would have loved to see this game, but
Yeah.
I understand, you know, they couldn't have anybody or the internet was really bad, but man, I really like Evan's list. I kind of wish he would have won it because I think this has a lot of potential.
Yeah. It's also really different from anything we've seen because it's just, you know, it's not trooper heavy. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And why I love it so much is because my dream has always been to run like a melee army. I'm just gonna run and see if you can just shoot me to death. And when I get there, you're dead. And this
Yeah.
just gets there in turn one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's deadly for sure, for sure.
Well, I mean, obviously it's deadly. It was second place.
Yeah. I'm amazed.
Um,
I want to run this bad boy.
It makes me want to go pick up swoop bikes. I haven't picked them up yet because I've been kind of on the fence about them. But then again, you know, I don't have as much skill as Evan does. I
Well,
barely
see,
go with phase ones.
not to pick on you, Adam, but I think swoop bikes are a high skill unit because you want to make use of their overrun and attacks in the same turn. So turn one is just getting in the position. Then turn two is wreaking havoc, and you're probably going to lose your bikes either turn 2 or turn 3.
Yeah.
Bleed over to turn 4, and then your AA5 is going to do its work. But the real threat is the Black Suns because they either got to focus swoops or the AA5 before the Black Sun gets it. Because once they get out, delete.
Yep.
That's what I love so much about this list is that it really utilizes those Black Suns because I theory crafted a list like this and I know you had too, but I just didn't really respect how scary it is to have 2 fully loaded squads of Black Suns that are going to drop out even after you deal with every other threat that's on the table because usually they have so much trouble getting there, but they hit like a truck once they're there. You're going to get hit by a truck and then another truck's going to jump out and hit you again. Like that's just crazy.
And you know what the best part about his list is all of this that I see here hits like a truck besides 3 of his activations.
Yeah.
And he's got a 13-point bid. Crazy.
That is a huge bid. I looked at that because I was like, oh, well, like it's going to be hard to do your objectives. It's like, well, not if you have a 13-point bid. And it's not.
Yep.
And like looking at his battle deck, like he had everything that he wants: breakthrough, sabotage, bombing run, payload. And then all those disarray, hemmed in, roll out, major defensive, hostile environment, limited viz, minefield, and war weary. Like, oh man, that's just beautiful. And I believe he took this bid because to always be blue player.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to be for this list because you don't have any thumbs, which is always such a big deal for most of the other objectives. If you get paired against like a force user and you have to do an objective you don't want to do, you're just going to lose.
Third place, last list we'll discuss today. I was surprised. I'm gonna just throw it 100% out there. The Empire without Vader in the top 3. Like
Yeah.
I am genuinely surprised. That list is Veers with commanding presence, strict orders, binoculars, 2 snows with the flame, recon intel, and sonic imploders. Then you have 2 more snows with the flames and sonic imploders, 2 storms with the DLT and the RT. So this is the Battle Force set. So I imagine those storms are the heavy storms.
Yeah.
And 4 speeder bikes. Yeah. That's just such a crazy list to me. And
Well,
then we obviously did well.
This is another list I like because all you're really doing is throwing the snows and the speeder bikes down your opponent's throat,
Mhm.
while Veers is giving aims to the heavy stormtroopers at range 4. So
Mhm.
that's like 2 reds, 4 whites. No, yeah, 4 white, I think, or is that a red and 3 white? Something like that. At range 4, like it's pretty nasty. And even if he loses a couple activations on the way in, that's still a lot to deal with.
I think the only change that I would do to this list on a personal level is spend the extra 4 points and give all the snows recon intel.
Yeah,
And I know
maybe.
why he didn't, you know, his increase the chances of his deployment cards of being blue player and stuff. But just I don't know, for me, I'd want all of them to have the recon.
Honestly, I feel like recon intel is like a hit or miss because if you're reconning intel, you're getting closer to your opponent's army, which potentially get picked off right off the bat,
Yeah.
positioning wise. So it's like one of those tough calls you got to make. Is there something where I can hide? Is there something where I can scout? Because I'm going to be closer than the rest of my army, you know.
Well,
This is a
then
very
that's
alpha strike army though, because it's got the 4 bikes. So there's probably going to be something for your opponent to shoot at turn 1 anyways.
Mhm.
So I think just having those snows closer is totally worth it.
True.
Mhm.
True.
And then just because you take recon intel doesn't mean you have to use recon intel.
That's true. That's true.
So like I said, for me, for the 4 points, I would have took it, but I completely understand wanting to bid. Although if you do, I don't know if he did get paired up against Evan, where the bid wouldn't have mattered anyways.
Yeah.
But
I would be interested to see how this list runs because looking at those sonic imploders, it looks like he's trying to do some kind of suppression game, which like Blizzard
Mhm.
Force is obviously super good at. So I'd be interested to see what he does with the heavies, if he's trying to kill things or if he just splits fire just so he can add the suppression all over the place. I would just be curious just because
That's
we
true.
didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah. I'm curious if you played Veer's 1 pip and that 2 pip turn 1 and 2.
I assume. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just so good.
Yeah. Solid.
Mhm.
Okay. Since we're not talking about any more lists, the thing that I wanted to touch on is I'm not really digging the Shadow Collective. And what I mean by that is I hate this idea that Shadow Collective and mostly the Pikes can go into any army. Because what we're seeing now is a flood of lists with just Pikes and Capos.
Yeah.
And I feel like the factions lose their identity because you're just gonna take what's the best and you just insert in. And it's just if it's a feel bad, it's just like, oh man, well, you're not really playing clones, you're playing pikes. You're not really
Yeah.
playing rebels, you're playing pikes. And I'm playing pikes for LVO. So
Yeah, no, I played a clone list last night and I had 9 activations and 4 of them were pikes. So it's yeah, I
yeah,
was not really playing clones.
yeah. It's just a feels bad, and I wish they would fix it somehow, but I don't know how you fix it. I mean, if you nerf pikes,
I think you nerf pikes. I
well,
think if
yeah,
they go up 3 points maybe, then I would look at that. Like last night when I was building my list, I would say, well, instead of this pike, I'm gonna bring a phase 1 because it's not that much more expensive anymore.
Well, and then just to pick on the clones, because I'm a clone player, there needs to be a happy medium. Like, yes, the pikes need to go up 3 points, but phase 2s need to come down 3 points.
That's probably true.
You know, give me crit 1 back on the arcs, please. At least I'm
no,
whoever
you
is
don't need,
listening to this at
no, you're
AMG, I
wrong.
want crit
You're
1
wrong. You're
back.
wrong. You're wrong.
I don't know. I agree with that because the Republic snipers are just sad
They're
if they're
trash
not
now.
Echo.
Okay, that's the whole point of the Clone Wars snipers, though. They're meant to be bad. They're not meant to be as good as the Civil War snipers.
They should be better than the Civil War snipers.
They
They're clone
should
troopers. They
be
should be the
better.
elite.
And
Like that's at least like full strikes or full arcs. I appreciate because they are basically the best unit in that slot. It's just that they're super expensive. But the strikes, they might be the worst sniper.
no, they're not. The droids are the worst snipers, and for a lot of reasons. But
You're probably right about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the clones, they're fine because when they move, they get an aim, right? They're never not going to have an aim.
But they do only have lethal, which means that they're rolling 2, hoping either for both hits or some kind of crit.
Right, which is I think they were going for as far as like powerful units because giving they have better dice than the other Civil War.
Hmm.
And that's why they're spinning the aim to make it lethal because you're probably gonna hit the two, right?
Yeah.
That's why you get rid of critical because it was just too strong. And then on top of that, like droids, they throw in two reds, which is why they get the lethal keywords.
So then if you don't, and I know we're getting off topic here, but then if you don't give me crit one back, lower the points. Why'd you
Yeah, I
take
agree
crit
with
one
that.
away and
Yeah,
raise the points?
no, I
Yeah.
agree.
If you don't get crit one back, then I think I would almost like to see him switch to high velocity. I feel like that would be enough of a change for me where I'd be like, oh, they're back in the game. But
Especially with
having
all the pikes out. Yeah.
yeah, having no high
Yeah,
velocity, no critical. It's like what are they good at shooting? Is there anything they're good at shooting? I'm not sure.
I think the fix is you give the Clone Wars high velocity. That would fix it right there.
I would like that.
Um, but I was gonna say was yeah, the clones just need the same thing that Empire got. It's just a reduction all across the board, and then clones will
Hmm.
be good again. That's all they need. The
Which
clone sharing is fine. Um, yeah,
I
there's
disagree.
okay. Go ahead.
So clone sharing, I would like it back to unlimited tokens, with the exception of standby.
Yeah.
So because now only sharing one token per attack or per defense, whatever it is. So Obi's practically useless. Like, what do I want to take Obi for to get 50 surges on everybody when I can only share one? Um, I think unlimited sharing for everything but standby, and that's good to me because that was the clones' identity.
Yeah, I think you could either do that or do the points reduction. I think the points reduction is a little bit more interactive because you're able to take things that aren't like you don't have to take Yoda or like something that's gonna increase your actions without increasing your activations. Um, but I also think Adam, your recommendation would work. Either one of those I think would make him
The
viable again.
so why I'm fighting so strong for the point reduction? It makes everything viable, right? The problem with unlimited clone sharing was that was the issue is you only saw clone troopers. You didn't see ATRTs, you didn't see saber tanks, you didn't see bark speeders, and that's a shame. It was a shame that the clones got all these new toys and nobody wanted to take them because they weren't a clone trooper. The sharing is fine because no faction in the game can share like they do.
Hmm.
And when you need something, you can always share it off somebody. Obi-Wan, the complaint about Obi-Wan, you just fix Obi-Wan. Give an Obi-Wan exemplar. That's it. That's easy fix.
Or
Um,
hear me out on this: your saber tank, your bark speeder, your ATRTs are clone troopers.
well,
Throw them in on the
yeah,
sharing.
yeah, yeah. That'd be
Throw
fine.
throw
But
them in on the sharing.
but you keep it limited to the one because then
You
I think anything in a game that's unlimited breaks the game, right? I think there potentially going to be a broken with Kalani or Kraken that has the override too. We just haven't
Hmm.
seen it yet, right? There isn't a unit that we can abuse it in that manner. I bet you there will be one day that comes out that you can abuse it, but it's not.
so
We haven't
then
seen it yet.
so then are you saying let's use aid from the capo?
No, because
Should
aid.
should
I,
aid only be once a turn?
what do you mean once a turn?
Because I could dodge, pass it to my um pikes,
Mhm.
and then I can aim and pass it to my pikes. So should I only be able to pass it one time?
Aid's fine, I think. Aid stresses the
Just because it
opponent.
has the cost, and I think the same thing is true of override because it has the suppression cost. I think it's okay.
Yeah. I just think like with the whole Pike thing is the Pike's units are overtuned. That's it. We just tune
Just
them
a
back
little
down.
bit, just
Yeah.
slightly overtuned. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even say they're that much, but just enough where they are, like you said, pushing out other core units from like I'd rather run pikes than core and Imperial um or Republic.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
honestly what Nick said, you just take outmaneuver out. Fixes that problem.
Yeah, it's hard though because that's part of their identity. I think it's cool that they have it and it like makes them unique. I'd rather just see them be a little bit more expensive.
But the hard thing is to me is like when something is their identity, I feel like it's not their identity only because they came out with the keyword and people played with it and it's just like, oh, this is why you play as them. Like
Hmm.
for instance, the sniper strike team, like they had critical one. That's why everyone's like, hey, that's their identity. No, it just they put it on a unit and it was a little bit overtuned. Let's take it away.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. And they do have independent, which does keep them different enough. Like they're not just a rebel trooper. Because the risk would be that they just become just a rebel trooper, which
Right.
they're already
And,
pretty close to.
and they still have danger sense. I still think you leave them with danger sense because danger sense is so unreliable.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
So let's move on to Invader League.
Actually, real
I've
quick, I
oh okay.
compiled some information off of Nova. I crunched all of their because it wasn't on Legion stats yet, and so I pulled all of the list information and I got the win rates of all the factions and the list totals.
So
Does
I
anyone
got
want
I
to
got
guess?
I got CIS at 70% win rate.
So, what do you guys think is the top win rate, and which faction you think it is?
I think
Shadow
70% for
Collective.
CIS.
I think Shadow Collective.
I think
Shadow
Shadow
Collective?
Collective has the top win rate.
Top win rate was Rebels with 55%.
Oh,
Wow.
And the bottom win rate was Separatists with 41%.
makes sense.
And Shadow Collective was exactly in the middle with 50%.
Hey,
Imperial was
won-
just above 52 and Republic was just below 49.
I wonder if it's because most of the CIS players jump ship to Shadow Collective.
I think so. There was only 8 CIS lists at this tournament, which there was 26 Imperial. So that's just
Wow.
not much representation.
and which is awesome because this just shows that people want to play the new stuff, and that's obviously what they brought to tournament. They brought Blizzard Force, Shadow Collective. And when a new faction gets new toys, people want to read it.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
it's part, and I'm gonna throw this out there, and I'm gonna get some hate mail. For your hate mail, please see our Twitch, our Facebook, our email. I'll throw all that on the screen. But it's power creep. The reason people want to play all the new stuff is because the new stuff is the most powerful. And it's not a slight on AMG. I'm not trying to say this game's in a bad spot. I love this game. I love where it's headed. It's any game that's been out for a while with multiple expansions, it suffers from power creep.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. Because there's a lot of units that have come out that didn't get that people don't recognize that are good units. They just it's overshadowed by a certain unit. So I think when a release comes out, something's overtuned, and people jump on that. Where other releases, people are just like, that's not good. Superflex is a good example. The
Mhm.
other faction battle forces. Look at what's those dewbacks? When they first came out, everyone thought they were bad, and look, nothing really changed about the dewbacks other than they lowered their point, and they didn't need to, and they're making a comeback.
Yeah, no, I think just because the game is so interactive, like what we see is all these separatist lists are running those are still running like the dwarf spider droids, but those just don't work anymore because of pikes. And so even though like nothing changed about the dwarf spider droid, all of a sudden like they're just gone. And that means that like we get a list that's all vehicles in the top 2 because there's just not enough dwarf
Yep.
spider droids to stop them anymore. And so like because those buses they've been around forever, but
Yep.
they're everywhere again because the dwarf spider droids aren't because pikes are killing them. And so it's like a weird ecosystem where one small thing can shift everything. I like it a lot. I think it's really neat.
I like it too because it's like the Wild Wild West. It's just something comes out and it just makes the pistol ineffective, where the Winchester rifle just took the cake.
So, Invader League, I've signed up. I forgot my username already. I don't know. I played. Well, I guess I should ask you, Daniel, JR, you guys signed up for Invader League? You ready?
Yeah.
The first game was played when?
I don't even remember my username. Why are you asking me this?
Do you know, Dan?
The first game is played when? Was that the question?
Yeah.
I don't think it's till like the 24th. I think there's
Okay.
still like signups are till like the 17th, I think.
Okay, good, because like I'm busy, as you guys know, moving to a new place. So I did sign up. And I remember that someone said you had to go in your tab and do something to enable you to be in the league, which I haven't done. But yeah, I plan to play. I'm hoping to have everything moved in by then, but right now that's on the back burner.
So I signed up for Invader League. I'm in. I think I did everything to be in. I honestly just clicked on links that JR sent me. And then I played my first game of TTS the other day.
Yeah.
I played against JR and I said, JR, I don't know how to use TTS. I need you to help me out. And he was like, straight, no problem. I'll teach you. I got you, bro. I got you. This wonderful human being comes at me like he's playing LVO. And he's like, oh, you got to arrange this and measure this and do that. And I'm like, how do I measure? Like, I feel good. I just got my guy out.
Bro, come on. You're fishing. You're fishing for that sympathy. That's what you're doing. You're going for it.
After all that is said and done, I have to forfeit the game because I had some wife aggro. He goes on and reports it to the ladder. This wonderful gentleman took our how to use TTS game and just threw it on the ladder.
I like how you just violin this narrative of just poor me. Get out of here with all that. You played TTS before. We played a couple games on TTS. Granted, you probably forgot how to do it. You wanted it to be a ladder game, and
No,
not even that. I was just like, all right, you got to do stuff. I had to do stuff too. It was just like, all right, we'll continue this game another day. I was just like, no, I'm just gonna forfeit. I'm just like, forfeit. You know what? I'm putting this ladder because you can't be forfeiting in the middle of the game. Come on, man.
So counting it as elo for you was punishment for Adam?
Yeah, pretty much. Because what it really came down to, Daniel, was he had he got everything he wanted. He had long march, clear conditions, and a big open table. I had to start everybody far away, and Maul had to start far away too. He was running ISP with mortars and capos, pikes. So he had everything, and he was gonna range me out, but I was managed to get Maul behind a line of sight blocker that was close to him, which on the other side of that wall was this whole clone ball, and Maul would have been buried after that turn. And that's what you realize, Adam. I know that's what you realize. You just didn't want to play out, which I get why you want to play out.
That's when I realized I had no idea how to tell range on TTS.
It is a different skill.
I literally told you how.
You told me 30 minutes into the game how to do.
We can go back and forth. All day.
But no, all joking aside, I did learn some. It was fun. I do look forward to getting my butt kicked in Invader League. And I'm going to put that down as lack of skill combined with I have no idea what I'm doing on TTS.
Well, I really want you to, Daniel, hopefully you join up the ladder too, because when you guys play these people on the ladder, they're really good. They're bringing their A game. So you're going to learn a lot and you're going to get better playing these guys. That's how I got better, just playing. I wasn't ladder, but I would always look for games. And now that I found out about the ladder, I'm just like, okay, now I know all my games are going to be really close.
Serious.
Yeah. And someone's not going to, just concede when they see them all coming.
So surprisingly, that is the only game I got in this last week. Between the personal life stuff and the wife aggro and all that fun stuff, and that's all I had time for. Daniel, I know you got a game in last night. We'll be up on our YouTube channel later. You want to talk to me about you versus hashtag free Grogu himself?
Sure, I could talk about it for a bit. So I came into this game and I've been playing my double bounty droid list for a long time, and I wanted to just play something different. And so I just looked at my shelf and I saw my beautifully painted saber tank, and I was like, I want to run a saber tank. And so I started making lists, and I decided I'm not going to do anything that I don't have fully painted and like beautiful and ready to go. And unfortunately, I don't have that much Republic stuff that's like completely done. And so I'm going through and I'm like, well, I only have 3 phase ones. So I guess we're doing 3 phase ones. And I have 1 clone commander. So I guess we're doing a clone commander. And then I was trying to fill out points, and I was like, well, I painted all of my pikes. So I'm going to throw in 3 pikes. Oh, but that means I need to have Underworld Connection. And so I put that onto my clone commander. And then I tossed on a pike capo so that my pikes wouldn't run off the field. And then that was basically my list. I started filling out some upgrades. I put on 2 of the range 4 gun on phase 1s, and then I kitted out the saber tank so it had the the range 4 missiles, and link targeting array.
Okay.
And then the idea was basically that, oh, and importantly, I put on the thing where the clones could pass a dodge to anybody. And so they all had that. And then my clone commander had where he could pass name. So the idea was everyone's just going to pass tons of tokens to the tank, and the tank's just going to annihilate something every turn. So I go and I set up, and I'm playing with Nick, and he brought Vader and Boba and Callus. And then he had 2 naked shores with 2 shore troopers. I think it was 2 squads of stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that? Where am I at? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh,
and he had
2
an E-web.
storms.
That's what I'm forgetting. He had an
Yeah.
E-web.
Those storms did have the HH-12 on them.
Yeah. Nick really loves the rockets. I think every time I've played him, he's had the rockets. So we set up, we're getting ready to play. We end up playing Long March, Clear Conditions, Payload. And I think this is where I made a mistake. I didn't veto anything. We both passed all the way through. And Payload, I don't think was a good plan for me. In my head, I was like, well, he's going to have to march towards my tank. My tank is going to annihilate stuff. But the way it played out, and you can watch this, is he marched towards me. My tank annihilated stuff for 3 turns. And then on the 4th turn, Vader annihilated everything. And it just all went downhill from there. For the first 3 turns, I was feeling real strong. Like my tank I'd wiped out both his shores and both his mortars. I'd wiped out the E-web. So he was down 5 activations. And I think I had 1 clone trooper that had panicked off the board. Other than that, I still had everybody. And then turn 4, Vader came in and buried. And I made a mistake and moved my capo too close to him. And so he killed my capo. And Vader's in the middle of my army, having killed my capo. And he plays Master of Evil. And I get 3 suppression on all these pikes who are now Courage 1 with no capo. And I get 3 suppression on my clone troopers. And so another clone trooper panics off the board. My other capos actually rallied pretty well, but it was enough where they only got 1 action. So I wasn't able to move my cart. Vader did Vader things, force pushed guys around, murdered things. And basically, just in the end, Vader killed enough where he was able to move his cart and I wasn't. And so he beat me, I think it was 2 points to 1. The only interesting thing that really happened other than that was Boba tried to dive kind of on my left flank into my clone troopers. And I didn't realize it, but Boba had comms jammer on him. And so when he dove into a squad of clone troopers, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, great, he's locked up with my clone troopers. That's going to be a problem for him. I'm going to feed him dodges and tokens. They're going to be fine. And Boba will be there the whole game. And that part basically happened. But the issue was all of my clone troopers were right there because of clone ball. And so I couldn't give any of them orders. And I had what would have saved 2 of those squads from panicking was I had the 3-pip where the clones get to remove a suppression, but I couldn't give them orders. So it didn't matter at all. And so 2 squads of clone troopers, 2 almost full health squads of stormtroopers or clone troopers ended up panicking off the board, which was really devastating. He used his mortars really well, and his rockets basically sat back the whole game, just shooting to keep a suppression on them and escort them right off the board. It was pretty rough. So in the end, Nick beat me because I way underestimated how powerful Vader is, turns 4 through 6. Yeah, it was a really fun game though. I really enjoyed getting to use a heavy. I don't use vehicles very much, so it was like a fun learning experience for me, trying to figure out how to navigate clones and a heavy.
I thought about on my list changing out an ISP for the saber tank, just because I'm painting mine to look like Smokey and the Bandit,
Okay, yeah.
the Trans Am. So, and Gabe is going to make me the little Firebird logo. That's what it was, a Firebird when it shows up. So I'm like, man, I'm going to do all that work to get that painted like that. I want to run it.
That'd be sweet.
But no, I was there for your game last night. Again, you guys will be able to see it on stream, and it was a fun game to listen to and to watch. I was quite surprised that your lone stormtrooper, or sorry, phase 1, didn't die with Boba for 6 turns.
Yeah, my red saves were phenomenal for that squad. I think he rolled 3 out of 3 saves one turn, and then the turn before they rolled like 3 out of 5. And so overall they saved, they didn't die until the last turn, which made Boba unable to claim his bounty, which was nice.
Yeah.
Didn't
that's
save
awesome.
me, but it was nice.
A small victory.
Yeah.
Dieter, did you get a game in?
I did. So I know it's been 2 weeks since we recorded. So I actually played a game against Nick last Wednesday, or I want to say. And honestly, guys, I feel I cheated Nick so bad. It was
You
a
have 12
combination.
command hands again?
No, it was a combination of me, forgetting things and miscalculating things. He had put a wound on a bike, and when I was cleaning up tokens, I took it off. I had the steps a little bit too far away to range 1 to a BX. And then I was double moving a squad that had to panic. He panicked one of my units. And I missed that calculation. So I feel really bad because I played so sloppy this game. Because I was so like LVO, I'm playing this list, right? I actually brought a CIS to this game. And what I brought was T series, aggressive tactics, 3 B1s with the E5C and the T series, 3 BXs with offensive push and deflector shields, and then 3 steps, one with long range comm links and link targeting array. 2 of them with link targeting array. He brought an ATST, 2 dewbacks, sabotage strike team, what are the speeders, 2 shores and 2 mortars, and veers. I think one of the shores had the repair thing. Both of them actually had the repair bot for the ATST. So pretty much how the game went is we were playing danger close, minefield, and payload. So just like any danger close, it's like advanced position. You're starting on the opposite side, but you're on the reverse side of the table that you picked, and then you have the ends on the other sides. Well, on his end, he put a sabotage strike team, a dewback, and a speeder bike to flank my advanced position area, which was all my B1s and my BXs, with my BXs scattered behind the building. Then he put the ATSC dewback and the shores all by his advanced position area. And my other end, I put 1 BX squad that scouted up behind the building with 3 steps. And pretty much the game came down to whose end could flank the opponent's advanced position better, which ended up being my why am I blanking on their name? The steps. My whole game, this whole time was his ATST had clear shots, and I had very little cover to my B1, so I just kind of like had to move him around buildings. But my whole positioning, knowing that he has the repair bots, was just to ignore the ATST. I knew if I was to attack the ATST, he was just going to heal it. So I was just like, let me try to kill all this other stuff and just take that hit, that mega hit from the ATST, which I think kind of Nick felt, a little bit underrated with ATST, because even though it hit really good, I would like heavy cover, shield tokens, rolling surges, even on white die. Like I didn't really lose a lot. Like it didn't delete an act. I was able to like pretty much wipe everything with the stabs and the BX that I sent. I was able to stop his payload on turn 2, so his payload wasn't moving anymore, and everything that he sent to flank my advance, I just shot down with the B1s, the mob of B1s and BXs. So that's how that game pretty much went. Is I stopped him turn 2 so he could move his payload, and then I just kept moving my payload while he was trying to get there. By the time the end of the game, he only had the ATST and a couple the Sabs and the dewbacks. I ignored the dewbacks as well, because they have armor 1, the red saved, and honestly, I just need to kill the troopers, because if I could dwindle that down, I didn't think his ATST and the dewbacks could delete anything on my squad, because B1s be B1s, it'd be a lot more than anyone could handle because of sheer numbers. Well, it was a good game. Sorry, Nick. I definitely do feel like I cheated you because I forgot a couple things. I played very sloppy. So yeah.
So I'm going to stop you right here. And Jose, I know you're listening to this. I want you to rewind about 3 minutes and listen to JR admit he is cheating again. I want you to make it your ringtone of JR admitting that he is cheating.
Well, okay, I'm gonna put it out there right there. I've been cheating everybody that has been playing my LVO list because I've been giving Maul standing orders this whole time. This whole time until Josh Wilson told me that I couldn't do that with the capo. So yeah, I've been cheating with my LVO list too. Granted, I don't know I'm cheating until after the game, and I'm just like, yeah, I cheated. My bad.
Dude, that sound clip is going like it's in Audacity already. It is editing and it's text message, everything. It's gonna be I cheat everybody.
Hey, I'd rather be accused of cheating casually than when I'm at LVO because then that's when it really matters.
For legal purposes, guys, I am just playing with JR. He is actually a great opponent. Tries to be honest most of the time.
I just like to play overtuned units is what it really comes down to.
Let's see let's see here. All right. So you two changes to your LVO list at all, Daniel?
Not really. I'm thinking about trying to increase my bid. I looked at like average bid size at Nova, and I really want to at least be competitive for it. I looked at the top 8 lists, and I'm basically average. And so I want probably to see if I can shave 4 points off. So I'm thinking about taking out the offensive pushes on my Magna Guards and placing them with
Okay.
situational awareness. So I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm throwing it around.
What is the average bid right now?
Average bid out of the top 8 was like, I think it was like 10 points.
Ooh.
Well, I guess it's not average. Sorry. I just looked and I was like, oh, I beat 4 and I lose to 4.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Let's
I feel like in this meta, you need to have a list that's good at being red player because shaving those points, those however big your bid was, I think it hurts you in the end. Whereas if you're good
Yeah.
at being red player, you don't care enough to fight for the bid.
Yeah, I generally agree with that. And I feel like my list isn't bad at being red player, but I feel like there's a couple blue player things that I could just basically win on. And so it's not so much that I'm afraid of red, so much as like I think I could get like a couple free wins. And that might be worth the 4 points of just, oh, I don't have offensive push, instead I have situational awareness, which are both good.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I don't know. I'm throwing it around. I'll probably try it and see how I feel.
I'm making a list, just kind of messing around. And right now I'm at 3 ISPs with the twin blasters and 2 ISPs and then 3 swoop bike
Hold on, you
riders.
said 3 ISP?
Then I corrected myself too.
Oh, okay.
Two ISPs with the twin blasters and 3 swoop bike riders, all speed 3, all in your face. Let's go. That's my alpha attack right there. The rest of it is gonna suck. I'll be good for a turn.
This is what I want to tell you. I think this has potential, and I think you need to grind it in the ladder. I think you'll learn your mistakes and you'll get better with it because I really like the list that you have, and I think it can do amazing things. But you gotta make those mistakes and you gotta learn how to run it.
Oh, I love my double ISP list. It is the only thing that is iffy about it for me is if I'm going to take the ATRTs or if I'm going to take the pikes.
Yeah, Tabletop Simulator is the place to try that, though. You don't have to buy them first.
Look, we've
Yep.
discussed this already. JR, any changes to your LVO list?
No, but I have decided how I'm gonna play that standing order turn. So in theory, my plan is Maul's gonna go in the bag. I give the order to the capo that has an improvised order. So when I'm shuffling for the bag, if I get Maul, I improvise order that, and then immediately go with the capo that has the improvised order, recover. So I get 2 chances of not taking Maul when I draw him. We'll see how it works out. That's my theory.
I think we're gonna get to LVO, and he's gonna try to just issue the order to Maul anyways. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
no
Hey,
one's
what-
caught him so far.
Where's the judge? Where's the judge? Yeah.
What I honestly see happening is a month before LVO, and then the pikes get more expensive and all the list changes.
Yeah.
That's
Bringing
what
CIS
I
at this
see
point.
happening.
I agree with you.
All right, so I believe it's your turn this week, JR. Let's start off with how do you build your list?
So how I build my list is I decide what unit I want to play. Like, what's the main focus of the unit that I think will be really solid. So that could be B1s. Actually, let me go over that with how I build my Battle One deck or Battle One list. Let me see, pull that up right here now. I have over 89 lists for Separatists. So, how I wanted this, I wanted to play the BXs because they're not that great right now. They're still good, but I don't think they're competitive. So I was just like, okay. And I wanted to run them with the shields because I 8 dice, sharpshooter 1 has potential, right? And then you got the shields, you can refresh them and everything. So I was like, okay, putting those in, but they're not strong hitting, so I need some more strong hitting. So then I decided, okay, I'm gonna deck out some B1s. They have the E5C and the T series, and that to me hits like a truck. You gain the surge, you're throwing 3 blacks, 1 red, 6 whites. It's solid. T series, okay, how can I complement that? A commander, which is T series, giving out the order without having to use a command card, and then aggressive tactics to give more surges because 9 times out of 10, despite what Nick will tell you, you roll a surge and you want to spin that surge to make it a hit or a defense. Then another unit that I haven't played in a while was the stats, and it fits the B1 because the B1s are on the stats. So I was just like, that's perfect because stats are really good still. It's just, spiders phase them out. So the long range comm links with link targeting arrays on the other two means I can issue the order anywhere, wherever the stats are, and the great flanking units. So that's kind of how I build a list is pick a unit that I want to play and then build around it to complement it. And then pick objectives that's going to complement it and, the battle deck, obviously, and command cards.
So let's go to your battle deck then. Like, so that's you built this army, and then like, is it just from experience? Like, I don't like payload, or I know this isn't going to work well with bombing run. Like, how do you pick your battle cards?
So I look at my list.
Like, let's say I'm new off the street, never I've touched Legion before. JR, how did you pick the battle cards for this deck or for this list?
So looking at my list, definitely looking at the objectives. Definitely wanted bombing run. Bombing run on stats are solid. They can zoom, drop, instantly get a victory point within 3 turns. That's solid in itself. So anything that has a repulsor vehicle that has speeder 1 on it, you should take bombing run. Breakthrough, same reason, stats. I could keep them in the back till turn 6, run them in. They'll be chilling in the deployment. Payload, I have a ton of B1s and BXs with shields. So just you would have to have the sheer amount of power just to delete my guys when I don't know if you could do it right now in this meta. And then key positions, turn 6. Honestly, I don't like key positions because of turn 6, but the staff can contribute to that. So the staff could potentially take their back key position, take my key position, and I don't have to fight for the middle one. Battle lines because of steps, disarray because of steps. You're gonna see a common theme here. Roll out because of steps, and hemmed in because of steps. Like I said, steps have been really good since they came out. They're just getting overshadowed right now, and you just want to run a deck around them. Hostile environment. Droids don't care about B1s or suppression. Minefield. CS don't care about minefield. Clear conditions, pretty straightforward. And fortified positions, white saves always love heavy cover. So yeah, so even though the unit I wanted to build around was my BXs, I think it ended up turning into steps. But that's just because it just complement each other really well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to build around B1s unless you're going invasion. Just because it's just not very many points, even when they're all kitted out.
Are you talking about BXs?
The B1s.
Yeah. I really like the T series and the E5C kitted out because it hits really hard, and there's just so many. That's eight, yeah, in a unit. And even in invasion force, that's just too much to handle. I might if the pikes get nerfed, I might even bring invasion force just for the hell of it.
As a non-CIS player, I'm gonna say please don't. I don't want to chew through 8 squads of V1s.
Yeah.
It'd be so satisfying with each shot, though. It's like, oh, that's 3 more models.
It would be fun though just to run up some buses or something with comms jammer and just watch you.
Oh yeah, Comm Jammer is solid. Like I was having a discussion with Jose a long time ago. Like there are things that counter CIS, just nobody takes it. And the reason why nobody takes it is because it's not really that good against all the other factions. CIS is in that notch of just like certain things are really good, but you're catering to CIS, whereas you got 3 other factions to worry about.
Which a couple months ago, I think it would have been worth catering to CIS, but now with the Pikes release and stuff, you kind of got to cater to the Pikes more.
Yeah.
High velocity is making its comeback.
Yeah.
So, Daniel, you got any rules questions for us?
I do. So, with the new swoop bikes coming out and doing so well at the tournament, I thought it'd be fun to brush up on some overrun questions. So I've got 3 overrun questions for you guys, and we'll just run through these pretty quick. We're gonna go from what I think is the easiest to what I think is the hardest. So the first one is a fluttercraft moves through R2 with a suppression token and another enemy unit. Can you target R2 with your overrun attack, or must you attack the other unit because of inconspicuous? What do you guys think?
You want to answer first, Adam?
I'm gonna say you have to target the other unit.
No.
Because overrun is still an attack action.
It's actually not an attack. So yeah, you can hit R2D2 with overrun.
So the correct answer is actually Adam's correct.
Oh,
you do have to target a non-R2 unit, as his inconspicuous keyword would come into play.
So it's not an attack action. Like
it's not an attack action, but it is still an attack.
It's considered, so considered an attack.
We could pull up R2's wording.
Well, that's good to know because
yeah, that's what all these were. Is it was like weird scenarios where it's like I don't know that off the top of my head, not for sure. So
overrun confuses me because it's an attack, but it's not an attack.
It's got its own weird subset of rules.
Yeah, like you can't use cover against it. You can't use dodges against it.
Yeah.
Doesn't give you suppression unless it has the suppressive keyword.
Yeah.
All
right, you guys ready for the second one?
I'll still take all that over Mando any day. I'm just saying. All right, let's go with the second one.
All right. Overrun weapons state that they can be used when bases of miniatures overlap during the movement of an attack. How does this work with terrain? For example, a Wookiee fluttercraft flies over a piece of terrain with a trooper unit under it. Can they still overrun?
Ooh.
So you've got to kind of picture this. You've got your terrain, right? So here's your terrain, here's your trooper, and then over the top of that comes your fluttercraft. Does that count?
Go ahead, Adam.
I'm gonna say yes, because has written it's when it overlaps. So technically, you are still overlapping that mini.
I'm gonna say no, just to be on the opposite coin of this, because you can't see it. I don't know.
The correct answer is yes. You can attack them as long as the base overlaps an enemy unit on a 2D plane. You can overrun. That means the units that may be under terrain when you move on them are still valid targets.
2 for 2, buddy. 2 for 2.
All right. Let's see if Adam can finish strong. Here's the third one, and this one I had no idea. So, can a unit that moves through an open transport make an overrun attack on the occupants that are being transported?
Yes. Done. Sold. Yes. An open transport? Yes. A closed? No.
I'm gonna say no, just to be on the opposite side again.
All right. The correct answer is no. They are not eligible to be targets of an overrun attack. Overrun requires you to move through the unit to trigger the attack, and it's impossible to move through an embarked unit.
So
With
I
an
guess
open,
well, because I guess
And it's
technically,
specifically for open transport. That's the question. No.
isn't it because like and when you're transporting a unit, it's technically on the side of the table, it's not
Yep,
in.
they're technically, so
Yeah.
your unit is removed and technically just, it's marked
just
that you're in
okay.
there.
Yeah.
So for range measurements, it would be fine, right? Because you could do range measurement to the base, but technically that's not the same unit. So
Yeah.
that was a
Interesting.
weird
Okay.
one.
That was.
I definitely would have guessed the same as you, Adam, that, oh, I think you can. I think you can, because like open, you can usually shoot at them.
Yeah.
But oh.
I
There's
got
there's my overrun brush up on the rules for you guys.
that's awesome. That oh man, I'm glad you did that because I actually cheated. I cheated
Really, this segment
Jose.
is just to call out JR. I'm just gonna start looking up rules that we think you might have cheated on.
We're
I
at this point, we're gonna have a whole segment. How did JR cheat this
I,
one?
I cheated Jose right before LVO. He was running the Fluttercraft and repulsor vehicles. If you take the repulsor last, that's it. That's in the return. You can't take any free actions. Fluttercraft's a repulsor vehicle, and it moved 3 times. And I'm like, oh, you've used the repulsor at the end. It's got to stop. And he's just like, no, I could do my overrun attack. I'm like, and the rules haven't came out for it yet.
Yeah.
So he asked LJ, and we were just waiting, and everybody had said like, yeah, it's supposed to work. You know, that's the whole point of it. And then of course it came out that he was right. So he that was the one time I seen Jose rage quit, and
he retired those units, didn't he?
yeah, he was like,
Yep,
I'm never playing
yep.
these again.
Yeah, he has
Oh,
not
man.
touched them.
Yeah, yeah, that was another game I feel bad. It's just like, I'm sorry, man. That's just I don't know. This is a new unit. I got one for you guys. Okay. 2 units. Grievous is engaged with 1. And then you got R2D2 out with inconspicuous. He has a suppression, right? Can Grievous, Versatile, and Arsenal 2 shoot R2?
Is there any other unit within range? So it's just those 2 units?
Yeah, the one that he's engaged with, and then R2D2. So the opponent wants to attack the unit that he's in melee with 1 lightsaber, and then shoot at R2 with Arsenal 2.
Yes,
He can't do that.
because incognito is if there's inconspicuous is. And let me look it up real quick, but I believe it's if there is another eligible unit.
Yeah, I
Since
think
he
I'm gonna
would be
agree
the
with Adam
only
on this
eligible
one.
unit. Let me look up inconspicuous real quick. I want to brush up on it.
So you're saying that Grievous can shoot R2D2?
I'll be contrary and I'll say no, because it's, you can't form an attack pool against R2 because you can form a legitimate attack pool that doesn't attack R2.
Yeah, so just from the keyword, I'm saying he's eligible to attack because it says it must target another unit if able.
So we're gonna have to look this one up because I actually forgot. Because this happened to me a long time ago in a game when I was first learning Legion, and this came up, and we had asked the chat, and I think they said that you have to attack the unit with both of the arsenal attack.
You can't even form a pool
Yeah,
that uses the range weapon.
Yeah, because of that reason of the inconspicuous keyword.
That might make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like if Boba, he's got his range 3 and his range 2, and he's in range 2 of R2, can he shoot him? Not if someone else is in range 3.
Yeah. And so we might have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure I remember that they said, yeah, you have to attack the unit with both lightsabers.
So I'm looking up Arsenal real quick. Yeah, no, then in that case, I think since you mentioned that, I'm gonna change my answer and I'm gonna join Daniel's.
No.
Daniel's bandwagon
no,
there.
Too late.
All
Too
right.
late.
No, because that would be correct. Everything would have to go into that unit.
Wow.
For some reason, I thought with Arsenal and Versatile that it had to be a different unit.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So And I think there's a keyword that does specify it has to be a different unit. In that case, yes, you'd fire R2. But
Like
since it's
gunslinger,
not,
I think.
yeah, I think it's
Hmm.
gunslinger.
Yeah,
But
Gunslinger
since
would
it's
be-
not, then yes, you would, or no, you could not shoot R2.
Yeah,
All
that
right,
makes
guys,
sense.
you ready for my hot take?
Yeah, let's hear it.
My best unit in the game. And I'm very biased towards this one. Love him to death. OP Luke.
OP Luke is really good.
That's not a hot take. That's not a hot take at all. That's facts.
I don't know. Do people think he's the best unit in the game? Like he's definitely best rebel unit. He's
Best
probably
rebel unit. I've seen him go toe to toe with Vader. And again, it's high skill. You know, OP Luke's not going to be good in the hands of somebody who just pulled him out of the box.
yeah.
But I think OP Luke by far the best unit in the game.
I would have to disagree with you. He's definitely up there, but I think he's tied with Darth Maul. Because Darth Maul can do more than OP Luke can at the moment, but OP Luke hits harder and has disengage. Native
Disengage is pretty nice.
Yeah, so he can OP Luke can potentially just mess things up, whereas Maul's really good at the objective game, which is more important right now than what OP Luke could do.
I think OP Luke's command cards might be a little bit better than Maul's. It's really close because Witch Magic is just amazing. But
And
Yes.
then
I think if you just take like his 5 other cards and compare them to Luke's are better. And so I think even with Witch Magic, his might be a little bit better.
yeah, let's compare those. I want to see. We got to rate these bad boys. Okay, let's see. I got my OP Luke. All right, so let's start with the 1 pips. Okay, let's do At Last for Maul, which gives you an aim, allows you to take a wound. You know, that's only relative to CIS,
Mhm.
and you get Jedi Hunter versus OP Luke's You Serve Your Master Well. Choose a friendly non-commander, non-operative unit at range 1, or suppress enemy non-commander, non-operative unit at range 1. Perform 1 free move attack or move with that unit. If it is an enemy unit, it can attack and start a melee with the other enemy unit. What do you guys
I think I like you serve your master well. I think I like that one better.
Well,
I think
and
objective it's gonna be a little bit better.
Don't forget, you don't have to take You Serve Your Master Well because you got Son of Skywalker.
We're
Yeah.
comparing them. That's what we're doing. We're just comparing the command cards. So, yeah, I'd have to agree with Daniel. I think Serve Your Master Well is going to win this one out because At Last just gives you a name. And then, yeah, you get Jedi Hunter, but you're not really using it for Jedi Hunter. And
I
on
mean,
top
it's
of
not
that,
often you want force users clashing.
yeah.
It's kind of a waste of a force user.
Mhm. And unless you're CIS, the Maul and CIS, you're really not taking that wound. And it's kind of the feel bad when you have to play a last at 1 pip just to give Maul his 3rd Geo Mastery action.
Yeah.
Okay. Son of Skywalker versus Duel of Fates.
I think Son of Skywalker is better.
Okay, why?
2 attacks. It's just that is a
Yeah.
lot.
And
That's
he
what's
hits like a
that's the
truck.
difference between like a full unit dying and you being stuck with a unit, right? Like that's a full activation difference.
See, I'm gonna disagree with you. Shocker, is because you can predict Son of Skywalker, so you can set up for it to prepare for it to take those 2 hits. But Duel of Fates just nullifies all green tokens. So imagine OP Luke and Maul going at it. Let's say for simplicity's sake, Maul has 2 dodges to take that Son of Skywalker, right?
Mhm.
But let's say Luke has 3 dodges. It means nothing when Maul attacks him. So that card, I think, is better because you can afford to go last with Maul in any situation because you can't spend green tokens. And he gets a dodge on top of that. So one of those hits is going to give him surge to defend. And so you're gonna go first. Most 99% of the time, I think you let your opponent go first because you're using that card to do whatever you want because he gets disengaged. So sure, OP Luke, I could attack you, or I could just get out of the way, let my army shoot you.
Yeah. But I mean OP Luke can do that all the time.
That's true
Yeah.
too. That should be.
I think this card
Let's-
is still better. I agree with you that like if they're fighting each other, I think that Maul has the edge with this card. But I think if Luke is fighting a squad like a core unit and Maul is fighting a core unit, I think Luke getting 2 attacks is going to be a much bigger swing than Maul getting an attack with his extra aim and you can't use a dodge.
Yeah, you know what I would like to see people do more often is I like to see people use Son of Skywalker to delete units. Like you attack one, then you disengage to attack another.
Mhm.
Because like Duel of Fates is really just like to stop your opponent from using any tokens
Right.
and to disengage and dodge and all that stuff. It's a really good just like enough for like when I'm playing against them all and he plays Duel of Fates and I didn't play Duel of Fates, I know I made a mistake somewhere because he could just delete my Maul if I was playing.
True.
against it. But the next one,
let's put a pin in this comparing them. For
Okay.
time, we're going long on time.
Okay.
And what we'll do, I believe we've all done our favorites, right?
yeah.
Daniel, did you say your favorite?
Yeah, I went with the AAT.
So what we can do next week is we can do a little research and we'll compare the 3 to each other and see who is the winner on it. I mean, we all know it's going to be me, but we're good with that. Dieter, real quick, your worst unit in the game.
All right. We said a lot of words in here. I think from our topic of snipers, I think we're gonna go with the BX snipers. If we're just looking at against comparing to other snipers and at face value with no like direct or Congo chain or anything, BXs are the worst because they have AI. So you have to dodge or you have to move, and you don't get an aim when you move. And even though they're throwing 2 reds in the sharpshooter 1, you don't get pierce. And that's what snipers really need is pierce. So that's my opinion on that matter.
So
Yeah, I think they're definitely the worst sniper. I don't know if they're the worst unit in the game, but the worst sniper.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Is out of the snipers that conversation we had, BX
Yeah.
is taken for sure.
I don't know, 30 points. So 50 points you're looking there. And then
You
what?
can't
More
aim.
expensive than
13.
Civil War snipers.
Adam, you can't aim, bro. You
Give
can't
him
even
an order.
No, we're at face
It's-
value. At face value, we're not taking. That's the whole point of the CS army is the daisy chain.
Yeah, I ran 3 BX snipers last Invader League, and you would get orders on them somewhat consistently, but then when you didn't, it was like, yeah, that's just a dead activation. They're not going to do anything. They're going to
Yeah.
move and dodge, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like you could run 1 or 2 maybe, but it just feel bad.
I guess I just as a non-CIS player, I'm
Yeah.
happy with the way they are.
I don't think they should change, honestly. I think maybe give them high velocity, just because I think that's like a sniper thing. I like it thematically on snipers.
Yes.
And like honestly, like I get why they're the worst sniper in the game because of the faction they're in. You do
Yeah.
the daisy chain, it makes them strong.
Yeah.
So I'm perfectly okay with that. But when people say clones are the worst snipers or the Civil War, I'm just like, you guys are all mistaken. BXs are the worst ones. But
So let me throw this at you for a minute, because earlier in the podcast you said that clone sharing should be limited to 1 token.
yes,
Right. And that was what they were designed with sharing in mind. So should the droids coordinate be limited to 2 units, 3 units? Because isn't it kind of, I don't want to say overpowered, I would definitely say beneficial to be throwing out at least 9 to 10 orders?
well, I think, and it's hard to say because this has been a controversial topic for us as a local scene, is I honestly don't think full order control is that overpowered that people are making out to be. Sure, choosing to go with what you want is huge, but you're looking at the worst core units in the game. You're
Mhm.
looking at AI being a thing, and you're looking at just you need your orders to go
But
on certain units.
between your coordinate, your directs, your HQ uplinks, AI is not a thing. An experienced
Not for B1s.
an experienced CIS player, AI is not an issue.
No,
Well, It still becomes an issue if things die out of order, because a lot of times you have your chains very carefully planned, where it's like, oh, this guy changed to here, this guy changed there, this guy changed to here. And so if a middle unit dies, or if one of the guys who's supposed to start the chain dies, then you still have good order control, but then all of a sudden AI is a thing for your Magnas, or AI is a thing for your, I don't know, your BXs, because a lot of times that chain will break.
And like that's one thing I never understood is like obviously a good player is going to hide their T series. You take out the T series, there goes the order control. You take out the
Yep.
HQ uplink link, there goes the order control. Comms jammer, there goes the order control. Like there are ways to stop it and make AI, detrimental. But like comms jammer, we already know is because it's not that great against other factions. And I don't see a lot of people, going after the T series or the HQ uplink. That's because you could probably gonna overextend and get just shot to kill. But it's balanced because they have the worst units in the game.
Yeah, you don't go for the T series because you got to go through 64 hit points just to get to them.
Yeah. But I mean, from playing CIS to playing Shadow Collective, I'm getting at least I'm rolling what 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dice and hitting with 6 usually. Whereas B1s, I was getting at least 1 or 2 crits.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah, that's a big difference, where a firepower versus 1 or 2 crits. I was never deleting squads like my pikes are.
I don't know. I just
You don't know because you've been playing me against it. There's a big
Right.
difference. Yeah. It's
Right.
or don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Order control is really nice and it feels real good when you pull it off. But and it sucks because I played against when people do order control. I'm just like, damn, he's got all these orders out and he gets to choose with what he wants to go with. Because Legion is very much, I feel like, is a chess game where you get that random element of I might go with my queen right now and I don't want to. Where CIS just nuffles that, right? But if you could take out the hard hitting units, B1s ain't gonna do nothing. But they're great at objective play right now. I think if we introduce more objectives that troopers don't contribute to, I think we might see a little bit more, crazier play. But right now, since it's a trooper unit game, that's why B1s are so great. It's because they have a lot of bodies and they can contribute to the objective. They're not deleting squads. They're not deleting units in this firepower game.
Yeah, but they're enough of a distraction. You cannot ignore B1s. You have to deal with B1s.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing with B1s, you're not dealing with Maul. You're not dealing with Magna Guards. You're not dealing with the T series.
That's the point, right? Because like in anyone's army, like my pike army, you're either dealing with my pikes that are hitting really hard, or you're dealing with Maul. The game is very healthy when you have multiple choices to choose from, because then you feel good as a player that like you have to deal with my dewbacks or you got to deal with Vader, right?
But
if you know you just have to deal with the B1s and nothing else, it's just an easy game at that point.
So my question though got avoided, and we kind of went off topic a little bit. If clones can no longer have unlimited token sharing, again, standby should not be unlimited. Should CIS
Here's
not have
Here's my hot take.
not have unlimited?
Here's my hot take. Here's my hot take. There's nothing wrong with coordinate. Boom, there it is. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with the coordinate going on with CIS right now.
Yeah, I mean, CIS isn't performing super well. Like the faction that's doing best is the one that has 0 order control. So I think
Well, that wants 0 order control.
I think until they're ruling the world again, I think we can say that B1s probably aren't overpowered with their coordinate.
Oh, I'm not. I don't think it's overpowered, and I completely agree with you both that right now, threat wise, Shadow Collective is it. The pikes are it that need to be dealt with first. But my question, it just popped up, was because we took the Republic's faction identity, which was the token sharing, and nerfed it. So should we nerf the CIS faction identity, which is coordinate?
Here's my problem. Is that anything that comes out over tune, people feel like it's their identity. What I said earlier in this podcast, the unlimited sharing of tokens should have never been a thing coming out of the gate because it was way over tuned. Where we drew it back to 1, it's still good. It's just people don't have that surge of power anymore that they had at one point. But players are. I mean, it wasn't Nova Open, but it was some tournament that the Gar was up there in the top 8. Like there is potential, and I honestly think the problem is you just got to lower their points because sharing tokens in general is amazing. You just people have felt the unlimited power for too long.
And it was Nova. Gar was number 4. It was by Dash. Capo, Annie, Padme, 2 foot soldiers, 2 phase 1s with the Z6, a phase 1 with RPS, and 2 snipers.
Yeah.
So, all right, gentlemen, we
Wait,
are
before we head out. Last
Oh.
thing I just want to say one thing is want
the
to remind
Adams the
everybody.
greatest. We know that. Thank you.
You know what? I better see that greatness in the ladder league. I want to see you be killing it. Everyone remember, Escalation League is going to start Monday the 19th. When you see this podcast, signups are live, so you can sign up on our Discord, which will be in the description, and in Facebook. It's going to be 400 round 1, 500 round 2, 800 round 3. Skirmish for 4. Skirmish, no heavies, 400. Skirmish rules for 500, and a regular game for 800. Units are locked, so whatever you bring at 400, you have to bring to 500, and you have to bring to 800. But the upgrades are not locked.
And I want to throw in real quick, new players or new players to our area, new players to the game. This is the perfect way to learn the game, to make friends, to join the people. Like, I don't care if you've never touched the actual game, you just glued your people together. They're gray plastic. Join the Escalation League. Come play with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the last thing I want to say is 2 weeks to get your game in each round. It is a $10 buy-in, but you win a sweet Battle Force box of your choosing. And please make it even, because if you make it even, I don't play in it. If you make it uneven, I have to play in it. So I don't win the prize. That's going to be to whoever is the winner of the league. But yeah, that's what I want to throw in there.
And just for record's sake, there will be other prizes. Some of them are to be determined. I got my 3D printer back up and running, so I might make some terrain. The wife has offered to make some more dice bags if we need to.
That's what I forgot. I forgot to get the USB from you Wednesday.
That's cool, man. I don't know if I'm gonna make it Saturday to Legends. I got a birthday party and a baby shower to go to. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but I'll get it to you another day.
No worries.
All right, that's all I got. Daniel, you got anything you want to add?
Escalation League was my first event, and that was an awesome introduction. So just doubling down on that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Escalation League. Really, just to beat somebody's butt. Jose, I got my eyes on you, buddy. Dieter, you got anything?
No, I think that's it. Just reiterate, join the Discord. That's where a lot of the information is going to be that we set on here. You can find there. You can chat with people. You can find games with other people on there as well.
I will be linking the Discord in all the major Facebook pages. So our SenCal Facebook group, the 1S Facebook group, and the big Star Wars Legion Facebook group. So hopefully we get some nice, wonderful people in there. And that's about all I got for you guys. We will be kicking some butt, taking names. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, JR, for joining me. And thank you, everybody else, for finding the Lost Legion.
Don't forget, keep cheating.
Have a good night, guys.
See you guys.